Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Fossils and Archaeology Survival. It's been a while and it's really nice to be back. It feels like I've come home from summer camp. We're here with Dippy, we're here in the world, and as you saw in the intro, we did a little bit of a trigonometry over here for what will be today's new enclosure. Triceratops. Yeah, we're getting right into it today. On this island here, we're going to have a couple of round builds, and you can see I've done a dirt line here. I've decided that I'm going to fill in this river. So it will, there we go, is a good way to do. We'll fill in this river, maybe stopping here, all going all the way around, because we will eventually have the aviary here, and our control room is going to be here, and I want T-Rex to be right here in a massive big coliseum. But next to it, I thought it would make sense to have Triceratops, its big contender, in another sort of circular elevated viewing area. So let's get into business, shall we? What we need to do is, first of all, increase the height of the framework I've put down. Well, this was pretty easy. Builder's wand, making light work of it again. With this down now, I am going to be building this, I think, from the inside out. Basically, we have this as an interior wall. Keep down, you down there. I'm doing a video up here. We need to get the path, the walking area, the grandstand. I don't know what you'd call it. It's sort of none of them, really. The viewing platform. Yeah, that sounds maybe right. The viewing platform, I can't even say it now. The viewing platform, I think I need to place that in to get an idea of our shape, because this is round and my test was straight. But also, then I can put the second wall down. And once we've got the external shape, then we can do the interior. So this is roughly the size and shape of the viewing platform we want. We're going to have a wall here. Actually, no, we'll have glass out one block further, because if the glass is here, you will look down and see planks. But if it's on the outside, you can actually get all the way to here and see straight down. So let's do that, and then the back wall will also have something to protect people from falling over to their despair. And this is obviously going to be where the other wall goes, although I've already butchered this by going too far. So as I fill in some of these planks, I guess what I'm really excited for about where we are with this world is I feel like we're just finally at the point where it's starting to all come together. It's starting to feel like a world as opposed to just a few builds that are just sort of slap job separate, right? When we get the Triceratops in, we can have our path come down here, we can link all this up, and then when we fill in the river, we're going to really be able to go crazy here. And that's the best part of Minecraft for me, is actually how everything connects together, the flow, the little bit of character, right? These big builds are fun, but I actually just as much, if not more, enjoy how we connect them all together. The networking, the logistics. And we never quite got to that stage in the last world either. We just got to this stage where we're at now, right? We had, I think, 4 enclosures, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And yes, we were a couple episodes further ahead, but those were spent on the lab. So we're kind of only just now getting tied up with the other world. Now as well, I'm just thinking as I put this down, I'm using vanilla blocks. These are vanilla birch planks, and these are vanilla stone bricks. In a modded world, why are we doing so many vanilla blocks and builds? Well, there's 2 reasons. One is because it makes it more mod update friendly. If we ever have a mod that doesn't update to newer versions, we don't have to worry about our builds or breaking if we've used those blocks. But the other reason is that, in my opinion, I think it makes these builds more accessible to people. If somebody likes what they see, they can replicate these even in vanilla Minecraft. I know when I watch a lot of stuff online, sometimes I go, oh, I wish I could build that, and I get inspired. But when I'm watching a modded series, I look at that and go, I can't do that, because I don't have the mods. But this is the most accessible way to make a build inspiring for other people, is to use blocks that we all have access to. So that is one of the challenges for myself, I suppose. It also is just the case that these are the blocks that I'm familiar with, so they're the ones that my brain goes to when I get inspired. But I'll need to get some more birch to keep talking. Ooh, freaky. Look at how good it looks walking down from the lab here, and we have the new enclosure on the right. Ooh, makes me very excited for the park. Oh, finally. So this gives us our ring now with our little viewing stand around it. It's not quite symmetrical because of how shapes work and tracing them, but that's fine. I'm actually very happy for this. I think basically what it means is it means that the angles are wider, as in the curves, and the straight lines are a little bit thinner, and we've only got the 4 little strips, so I think that's completely fine. It's looking pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. The next step is to get our walls in, so as in like we need to, well actually we need to copy this wall down, we need to move one here, but then also having the safety rail on the back and the glass railing on the front. And I've just realized while placing those last few blocks that I need a whole lot of ink sacs to make light grey glass. So while we go around our racetrack here, gee, like a hamster on a hamster wheel, I can't help myself. Let's get that done, shall we? Now also, some of you are probably wondering, oh gee, what is Gob's thought process behind this? I had a vanilla world through COVID, which I did play for about 5 or 6 years straight. Basically the gap in my YouTube CV, if you will, is that world. And not wanting to make content, just wanted to actually play Minecraft again. And in that world, I made lots of circle builds. I can't really help myself. I eventually come to a point where I decide I want another circle. While you're watching the time lapse, I've just thought of another amazing thing that I want to share with everybody. I have fan art now. It's crazy to me. It blows my mind, but the wonderful Seabones over on Discord has drawn this fantastic piece of art with myself and Lorikeet and Captain Pineapple with our first 3 dinosaurs from our parks in our series. And yes, we have Dippy on there, and I love this art so much. I love Dippy. I love the others. I love the composition. I love how we're all together, because I think that kind of, I don't know, makes it feel a bit nice, like I fit in. When I get my themed areas set up, mainly my marine section, I imagine, I want to set up a little Seabones sketches shop, where basically it'll be a little build dedicated to Seabones, because they've dedicated so much of their wonderful time to not only like time, but also artistic talent to drawing me. I want to commemorate them with a build in the world to say thank you. So Seabones, it'll be a few episodes time, like a number of episodes time, but don't worry, I'm going to build something special for you here, because I really appreciate it, and it's very cool. And Seabones really did outdo themselves, because they've also drawn not 1, but 2 bits of fan art. I've also got this fantastic second piece of art from Seabones with me looking real cheesy, lining up the shot, getting in the design, and just envisioning what we want things to look like. I think it's a really nice bit of artwork showing that process, because I definitely do a lot of standing back and looking at stuff. It doesn't always make the cut, but I think at least I've spoken about it enough in the videos that Seabones is understood. So I really appreciate that, Seabones. I am eternally grateful for your incredible talent being lent to drawing me. It's actually a really weird thing to feel that somebody appreciates your craft so much that they want to celebrate it with you in their own medium. I don't know. It's really nice, actually. Now, when you do your walls, it is also important that you make sure that your blocks aren't like this, and that they aren't like this. See, like this as well. That's another example. See, that looks like it's going to be weak. That looks like it's just placed on here. Buildings have foundations, right? They get built onto a concrete slab, which is beneath the ground. You never see that. See, there's one. See, my eye's catching them now that I'm down here. I need to see more of them. And there's one there as well. That'll become dirt. It's mainly more obvious when it does become dirt. See, that could be fixed by just actually making that a grass block here. And that would have hidden that, but that's fine. Yep, more here. Okay. So this is just a little detailed thing to help improve your builds in your own worlds. So now that we're starting to get all these blocks, and it's probably easy to look at this and start to think it's very plain. Yeah, it is very plain for now. See, when you build, it's a multi-stage process, right? The easiest thing to do to get your build on the right track is just to start, first of all, with your shape. The silhouette, the structure, the outline, whatever word you want to use, they all mean, I mean, those all mean slightly different things, but the idea is that the fundamental part of the build is what you get down first, right? The actual like shape of it. If we weren't happy with this, what's the point in detailing this if we're going to be taking it down, right? You want to get the shape right. Then after the shape is in, we can go, it's very plain, all right? Let's pick out a few of these blocks to be mossy. Let's pick out a few more to be cracked stone bricks. Maybe we should have some of these be pillars. We can have them be like the log lumber supports. That's stuff that comes down the line. But for now, we want to get the shape right. So we need to put in our 2 safety rails, our one on the front and our one in the back. Now these will obviously need support struts at some point in time, but I think for now it's easier just to actually throw them in because they're going to really depend on our external one, right? It makes sense to have one here, and we probably will. This would obviously then be a stone brick block or a stair or something different, but for now, because we're not 100%, we're going to run this the whole length across because there is a chance that when we put the stairwell in, it's too close to have it here because we're going to have one at the end of the stairwell. The other one, you know, could go here, could go here. So we'll run this around, and why are we, you know, I can already hear people in the comments. Oh, we have the diagonals. I forgot about the diagonals. Ooh, this is seeding ideas. Nope, nope, nope. Don't listen, don't listen. Stick to what we're doing for now. All right. And I can also hear people going in the... I can hear your thoughts down there in the comments. I can hear you over at home. Gob, why acacia? This is not right. This does not match the birch. Where is this color coming from? Well, friends, we're not there yet, but the roof, the sunshade of our viewing area is going to be orange terracotta. So, I think I said that funny. This color is to tie it in, right? So that we get the orange from the planks, but the texture as well from these planks down here. And then also this gray log blends in nicely with our wall, particularly from this side, right? It adds a bit of a transition between what is full gray to full orange. This is our nice in between, right? So we do need to run this around. We'll also have support struts for this, but let's just throw all this in, shall we? All right, so we're going to just get this internal safety rail of glass pane done. We need to get the roof in before we can work out where our supports go. But before that, I need a way to get in here now because I've fenced it all off. So stairs will be in just a jiffy. And just like that, we've got our fence of glass panes running all the way around the inside of the enclosure. I imagine YouTube doesn't let you actually see that though, which is a bit unfortunate. The bitrate and all being what it is. Now we need to carve out access, right? Now that I'm here, I can't get back in and I can't get back out. So let's make a way for us to get in and out. We have made this entire ring centered on a even block as opposed to an odd block, which is why you can see our windmill shape. Our 4 planes are not on the same block, but are on a 2x2, which means our paths can either be, I'm gonna forget this already, that's gonna make it easier for me to do that. All right, this means that our entry paths need to be either 4 wide or 6 wide. I don't imagine they'll be 8 wide because that's going to be insanely wide. You need to have the proportions for it all look right as well, and that is in relation to itself. So this feels right. This does feel good. Okay, getting to here as well, we come to another option. So I've just started to bring the stairs down, but we could either bring these all the way down, and then we end up with this very sort of almost cross-shaped build, right? It actually extends the footprint of this thing to be enormous. Or, on the alternative, we could have this lead down to a stage, and then it splits left and right for, not quite double-back staircase, but it's going at a 90-degree angle. That might fit in with the shape and theme of what we want better, because for our sight lines then we've got, suppose it is this hideous staircase going all the way up, we've got a little wall we could actually write something like Triceratops with some signs or some custom art we can add in. So roughly speaking, this is what we're going to end up with, I think. You can see there we've got that front wall, which we'll, like I said, shape first and then we'll decorate after. And we haven't filled it underneath this, just enough to give an idea of what it would look like. But we would put a rail on the side here, and you would obviously come up here. You've got this little landing, and you can then come up the main stairwell, and then you're here at the Triceratops enclosure. I think it's pretty good. So I think what I want to do is I want to replicate this across all 4 sides. And then from there, see how we go. So just to show you all what it might look like, here is what I've drafted up for the sun shade for this area, just in a small patch before we fill in the whole circuit. Basically what we've got is we've got a sloped awning of orange terracotta, and then as a highlight mixed through it, we've got this smooth red sandstone, which is a bunch of crafting complications we've got with the chickens mod, but that's fine. We do have access to these blocks. So this is the kind of look, I'm not 100% 100% on the pattern. I think once I've got the full ring filled in, then I can go in and do some detailing for how these will look. And then I also need to go in and do the details for this lower wall section. And that's going to be very tedious. So that's probably just going to be a cut because you've had lots of time lapses already. So the roof is on. Oh my goodness, this was a lot of work. And it's not finished either, but it's finished for today because I just don't have the resources to get it how I want it to look. But what we've done is we've laid down the foundation of our roof. It has this lovely little sloped look, right? But it's very flat. It's very two-dimensional. What I really want to have is I want to have the roof, actually, if we look at the side profile, arc up and curve down like a 3D shape, similar how we've done our walls, how we have a external wall and then an interior wall with this bubble in the middle. We need to do the same. We need to have an internal wall structure and then an external display wall structure. A lot of theme parks would do that, but they're theming, but that's what we want to do as well. But it's just too expensive. The chickens take a long time to make this stuff. So today, just to get the episode actually out to you guys, we're going to leave the roof as is, and it gives us an excuse to come back later and check out our Triceratops once more. So what do we need to do in the meantime? We need to get these pillars in, right? So I've got these external pillars. I think these look good. They're nice and sturdy. They were the wall type before, and they're very spindly, but I think now that we've gone to the solid stone brick, it looks like it actually could support the weight of it all. But we need to put a few more in because we don't have enough. It's looking very bare bones and hollow, and particularly when we put the extra weight, I say in air parentheses, above the existing roof, we're going to need the appearance of some good support. So I also need to work out how I'm going to do these internal structures because I don't think they should be supported on just the wooden plank base. I think we need to find a different way of supporting this. So let's quickly run around and get our pillars in for everything else, and then we can move on to an access point. Okie dokie. Just like that, we've not done anything for the internal. Whoa, creepers! Oh man, this is dangerous in here. I need to solve that at some point. Let's do a little flyby from down here then. We have done the external pillars for the Colosseum-like structure we're now ending up with, and I think they're spaced pretty evenly all the way around, which is nice. We had to compromise on this one having a 4-way support beam because it was the only way to keep the spacing fairly equal. And we'll do these internal ones at a later date because for now, I want to put my brain to something that's actually going to be useful to work on. I want to do the entrance to the enclosure. So I think what I want to do is I want to have the entrance down on this side because our main entrance for the guests is going to be from the front of the park, right? Which is one of two ways. It's either going to be coming from this way, so we don't want the gate here, or it's going to be from the guests who run up the middle of the park option and then come here. So this is also going to be another fairly main entryway. So it leaves two sides to deal with. This side needs a bunch of terraforming because of the water, but this side already has kind of the level that we're looking for because eventually we will be moving a lot of this sort of terrain up to be level with, I think, if not this block, then this block here. So let's get in and try and do that. So following that logic, we definitely want to have the entrance come from this side where it's most hidden, I think, back here. It's our enclosure entrance, right? So do we have it be wide enough that we could have potentially a vehicle service it? Maybe. That was really satisfying. I think possibly, but the risk we run then is, right, how do we can't do piston doors in Minecraft that big. Garage doors are going to be a bit hard to do because your brain adopts them as flimsy, but we want to do something that's sort of like the Jurassic World Indominus Rex enclosure, where it has that really big wall door that they slide, and obviously the I-Rex gets out, because the door in that enclosure was just quite frankly too big. Had no reason to ever actually be that big, right? But I think what I want to do is I want to have one that theoretically we could move a vehicle into to get browse in or something, or we could maybe, I don't know, if we were to look realistically, if a Triceratops needed surgery or needed medical attention, it's probably being done in situ in here. But the question, I suppose, is how do you divide one Triceratops from the rest? See, so many questions and so little answers I can provide on this one that makes it a little bit hard. We want these to be stairs like that, right? And then we can run our silver garage door down in here. Now, is this ideal? No, this is actually far from ideal. But it rolls up there like that, which is good. And then we can have a portcullis to help kind of reinforce some of the... No, that's not a portcullis. To help kind of reinforce some of this realism, right? We want to have something like this so that theoretically, if we had a Triceratops get through the garage, the portcullis is going to be down so they can't get out. So with this in mind, yeah, there we go. The portcullis can roll up, so we can do both to get in and out. But Triceratops can't get all the way through. This probably actually should also run down here as well. Yeah, that. I gotta say, I think if I'm to reflect personally on how I do these videos and enclosures, I think my weakest point is these back of house sections that I tried to do. I think because ultimately they are sort of half-baked ideas. They're just sort of a good idea to have, but not really executed too well because it's not something that we need to actually include. So we don't know how much of it we want to lean into. All right, so I've rigged up a little entranceway here in the side. In Lore Universe, this would be obviously with a keypad. Oh, maybe I should put a security pad here. That would be kind of smart, actually. And I want to also rip these floor blocks out and make these the factory hazard blocks to show that this is somewhere that you can't be going into. So we've got this little door that opens up into this little sort of bay area. We've got the portcullis that opens that if Triceratops got through, should keep them in check as a nice safeguard. And then the strong sort of door that you would have like in Jurassic World. And then you're into the enclosure. So in here, I guess from here now we can do some terraforming. So what's the idea? My big idea, and I'm hoping I'm not going to regret this with the build palette I've chosen, but I do love the grassy meadows, but I want to make a childhood dream come true. I want to recreate a Triceratops enclosure in here that looks very much like the Triceratops landscape from Prehistoric Park, where the Triceratops, the T-Rex, and the Ornithomimus come from in episode 1 of Prehistoric Park, with that black, cobbledy kind of grass-free environment. That's what I want to try and make, and I'm just praying it doesn't clash with all the stone brick we've got. I've devised a little idea of how I'm going to do it. It's going to use some deep slate, some cobble deep slate, a little bit of grey concrete powder, and to bring the life and colour back in for the bushes, it's going to be azalea leaves. And because I'm an absolute madman, annoying human being, I actually love how this landscaping already exists in here, but I just want it to be black as opposed to green. So I am going to replace this block for block. It feels like an alien world in here, which it is meant to sort of feel alien, but this just looks like a planet from outer space. Not a bad thing necessarily. I think this is one of those situations where we have to keep going down the road to see how good it's going to look. We're in the ugly duckling phase of the project, I think, here. When we put some green back in, when we put some water and streams in, when we do some more block variation, I think it should hopefully start to feel a bit more like an ecosystem. Speaking of ecosystems, the first thing we need to do is put in the backbone of all ecosystems is our source of water. We need something for our Triceratops to drink, and it'll be a nice way of breaking up the environment. Now, Prehistoric Park has a famous river in it for the Triceratops shakedown scene where the T-Rex attacked them. So I want to try and recreate a winding river that runs through the enclosure that we can kind of get a similar aesthetic from. So I might try and wind it from like here across and around maybe. All right, so we've got our winding river cutting through our enclosure now. We've basically scalloped it in, that's a nice word, isn't it? Using the deep slate stairs so that we have a bit of extra depth, but also it's oddly enough given us this nice sort of paler shine to the bottom of the river, which I quite like. I think it actually adds a bit of, it adds something to it to help break everything up. And then we've got a volcanic rock as the bottom, the bed of our river, because you always should have a darker color in the bottom to signify wet material, basically, because water adds darkness to materials. It's just a universal law. Now, the other thing I've done is I realized I have put the river actually in the highest part of the enclosure, which doesn't make sense because your brain kind of is used to seeing rivers in the low points of an environment, and our low point was the edge. So I have terraformed up the edges a bit to not make them quite so deep, and I've added an extra little hill here to kind of help guide your brain to accept the river flowing where it is through the enclosure. Now, we could go through and add a bit of seagrass into this, and we may just add a bit of life and animation to the enclosure, because otherwise it'll be lacking. But for now, let's get on to more pressing things like actual green foliage. We need to go through and put our leaves into the enclosure now. So we're going to go and put basically a row of hedges along the outside to help break up the grayness that we've got, and it's also going to help our brain understand, maybe the water is running to the edges, and that's why things grow along the edge. And then put a couple of bushes in, and also a feeding platform. Let's do that, shall we? All right, so the leaves are in. We're breaking up a bit of our grey wall here. It's pretty basic, I will admit to that. But some spots are a little bit nicer, like here. This is more of an actual shrub, so we put a bit more effort on this side. And there's no guarantee that the Triceratops can't climb these and then get to spots where we don't want them to. It'll be something we try and resolve down the line. But as long as none of them can actually get out on any of the blocks we've put down, we won't have any Jaden Farrow style accidents. The other thing I did as well is I put in a little feeding area for them, like I discussed. Originally it was going to be over here, but I realized it makes more sense to be near the door, because how else are we going to service it? You're going to have some pretty excited Triceratops stomping over for their breakfast. We've got the feeder in the middle, which I've put a little bit of food in for them. But the idea is this whole plate could like lift up and down like in that game. We could maybe install some backdoor service thing for this underground area. Who knows? We don't need to go to that much detail. We've got our big leafy greens. It looks delicious for Triceratops and me, and that's all that matters. So there's two more little things we need to do for our landscaping today, and I'm not sure which order to do them in, so I'm going to start with the easy one. Trees! We want to put some trees in here, and not like this log hen who just continues to persist here. We need some chordates, but also some dirt. So I'm going to use some coarse dirt, and I'm going to sprinkle this through the enclosure, but I've got a few chordates here I want to put down. They're all different heights. We're playing still in the old version of fossils. They literally just updated the mod yesterday so that you have different heights for chordate trees, but I actually kind of want to have them fixed to the height they're at now because they're just the right height to be in the viewing gallery, in my opinion. So let's put one there. Alright, 5 trees in. It's a rule of design. You usually want to stick to odd numbers with stuff like this because it adds the right kind of character that the human brain can appreciate. Now, I have got them down one end for a couple of reasons. One, it makes it feel a bit more like a foresty side, a bit more of an arid side, because a lot of the Prehistoric Park stuff is more like this as opposed to like this. And the other thing is that it's all down the one end because I have a little plan for something here in the next episode. That's right, this is a two-parter where we go through and add more detail to this beautiful big enclosure in the next one. But before that, we have a couple of more little things to do. The Prehistoric Park environment wouldn't be complete without lumps of big dead timber that the dinosaurs chuck around throughout the episode and that Nigel and the team build the little corridor with to get the Ornithomimus back to Prehistoric Park. We need some of these logs lying around in here. So I've got a couple ideas of how I want to do this. We're basically going to build dead trees, sort of like some of our chordates have fallen over and had a rough time. It's just finding the right place to put some of these. But as an example, we could theoretically put one here. So here's just a little dummy of what a first log could look like. From up on the viewing platform, I think it adds that little pop of color we need to bring some more life into this very drab enclosure. It is the same color as our platform. But that doesn't matter, I don't think, because when things are detailed in the next episode, this will just feel like it's part of the world. Oh, look at how the water fades to it all fades away. Numa A. All my colors fade away to grey. It's another old reference for you. Geez, showing my time on the internet. Let's put a few more of these logs in, because I think with a couple of more of these in, we're going to be looking at what we want. And a quick little pit stop to put Triceratops in the lab. And now with that cooking up in the lab, we can do the final little finishing touch for today's enclosure. I may have said the logs were, but there's one more thing. Coarse dirt. Our bushes we've got in the corner of our enclosure need something to grow on. They need to look a little bit more believable. They would be converting some of this rough terrain into nicer terrain. So let's go through and sporadically put a couple little bits in Oh, that's a sensible spot to put one, is underneath there as well. Anywhere where the dirt is potentially going to accumulate, we want to be putting it down. I think less is definitely more here. Alrighty, everybody, it's the moment of truth. We have 3 Triceratops eggs to hatch out. I think we should, maybe we should do them up here. Somewhere where we can quickly stuff some food in their bellies before they run off and eat our landscaping, shall we? Let's go 1, 2, 3. And now we wait. All right, the moment of truth. Here they come. Baby Triceratops 1, 2, and 3. Oh, wait, we need to feed them. Quick. Give them food so that they don't eat all the landscaping. Gee, that was a close save, I think, there. Yeah, you just sit there and eat all those goodies. Oh, very good. Very, very good. There's oh, they're very cute. They're very cute. Look at how fast they run. And they blend in with the green. I like this a lot. Oh, boy. Okay, what have we got? What have we got? Let's have a look. We have Triceratops female. Max population 7. I didn't even consider that could be a problem. A male. And what else have we got? Where is number 3? Hello? Here we are. Oh, gee, running away quickly. Another female. All right. Well, I have a name picked out for the male Triceratops already. Oh, brother. I've had 3 convoys of pillagers attack during the building of this episode, but that's okay. Where are you? Mr. Triceratops, you are getting the fun name of Rambo. There we go. Another named character is in the park, and let's give you some growth serum, so that you can grow into that wonderful name. Oh, wow. Cute. Gee, so big already. The Triceratops get enormous in this. Oh dear, that was a big jump. Well, there we go. The Triceratops is now making adult Triceratops noises, but we don't have the full horns and we don't have the full colored frill. So you'll have to tune back in next time for part 2, where we fully finish the roof and final touches of our adorable Triceratops enclosure. Alrighty guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.